Hey everyone, I'm sure by now you already know who I am. Welcome to Most Common Questions Part 4. I'd like to start this off with the first question of, do you have any tattoos, piercings, or scars? If so, what do they mean? Well, to answer this first question, I do have a tattoo, and it is on my forearm. I believe in some of my other videos I've shown you. And people ask me, they ask me, what does this mean? And the only thing I can tell them is it means death. Now, people ask, why would you get a tattoo like that? Why would you do something like that? You know, I did it because by human nature, all living things have a fear of death. And regardless, it sort of falls under another topic that kind of interclashes with this, but I got this tattoo as a symbolization of conquering death. Dragons have always been considered to be eternal, and especially in the Asian cultures, or lucky, and or at least to have long lifespans, even though they're mythological creatures, and everyone knows that dragons don't really exist, although some would argue that. So, anyway, I got this tattoo as symbolization of conquering death. But that sort of goes into another topic, and perhaps I'll discuss that in a future video, but for the most part, I got it because that's what it symbolizes to me. It could have more than one meaning, but that's what I will say for now. And as far as piercings, I don't have any piercings. I don't really believe that I need any more holes than what I've already had in me. As far as scars, yes, I have a scar on my chest. When I was 5 years old, I had to have heart surgery, and there were some things that happened during that surgery that I've always found to be a bit puzzling, and no one wants to believe me when I talk about it, so I've just sort of disregarded the fact that, to even talk about it is pointless. Despite what I believe, my beliefs get shoved into the ground, and so that's another reason why I got the tattoo, because it has a symbolization for me, despite what others believe. So, yes, to answer your question, I do have tattoos, I do have scars, no piercings, and I believe I've covered what they mean. I hope that answers your first question. Question number 2. Have you ever had to kill anyone? No, I have never had to kill anyone, and I believe that if I had to kill someone, it would be in my defense, and it would be to protect myself, or possibly someone else, but I would protect myself before I'd protect anyone else. As I tend to feel threatened in this world anyway. So to answer your question, no, I've never had to kill anyone else, but whether I could or could not kill anyone, that's even bigger question. Some people would think, oh, he doesn't have it in him to kill someone. Well, you don't know that. You're not me, so you can sit there and say that, but you really don't know. You really can't judge me until you see it for yourself. But to fairly answer your question, no, I've never had to kill anyone. So I hope that answers your question on that. Number 3, do you drink alcoholic drinks? I rarely drink alcoholic drinks. I don't drink them all the time. Most of the time, I drink soda or I drink water or just non-alcoholic drinks. I try to stay away from liquor and beer and things like that. It's not my style, and I don't really go to bars, so I hope that answers that. But on to number 4. If you could change your dress style, would you, and why? If I could change my dress style, I would change it, and here's why I would change it. I would dress more goth, but I would do it because it's my self-expression, and I've really wanted to always dress in an artistic sense because that's the way I see goth, and I just really feel that yeah, it may be more dark and macabre, but it just expresses who I am. Besides, I like black. I mean, that's black, white, red. I mean, white. Yeah, some people, I guess, wouldn't really say that's goth, but some would. I mean, it really varies on taste. But like I said, as to why, I do it mainly for an artistic aesthetic. I mean, just for looks, because and I'm comfortable with it. I mean, I really would be comfortable with it. Now, whether I could afford it or not, that's a whole nother story. So, I hope that answers your question. Question number 5. Do you like anime, hentai, or both? Both. I have to say both. I know hentai is considered like cartoon porn, and it's more for mature audiences, but yeah, to me it's still anime, and even though it's got an adult content to it, it's cartoons to me, pretty much. I mean, it's all the same. I mean, yeah, it might have sexual explicit or violence or whatever, but regardless, I I like them, and I've always liked anime. I mean, some of my favorites, and I'm not really trying to promote any of them, but like to give you all an example, uh, one of my favorites here, and this is part 1, is it's called Heroic Age, and why they didn't make a third part to this is beyond me, or at least expanded a little bit further. Shoot, even a video game would have been nice based off of this, but um, it's just, I mean, that's one of my many favorites. I've got a small sort of collection, and as you can see on my wall back there, I've got Death Note. I mean, I've got. Well, I've got both box sets. I've got 3 movies. Yeah, I think I have the complete set. I'm not quite sure. And same with Full Metal Alchemist. I think I might have the full set of that too, but I'm not quite sure. But I hope that answers your question as far as number 5. Number 6. Do you watch porn? If yes, what type of porn? I don't know. This is kind of a hard question to answer because, I mean, it kind of relates to number 5, back to the hentai. Um, I'm gonna have to say yes, but I'm gonna have to say hentai. I mean, as far as other types of porn, Uh, well, I mean, it's the internet. You know, you come across that stuff sometimes whether you don't want to or not, but uh, it doesn't necessarily mean that I watch it. Uh, but for the most part, I think if I had to watch porn, and I'm going to be really nasty here. That just sounded really perverted. So I would have to say, um, cream pies. I know that's dirty. Anyway, um, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. Have you ever seen, and on to number 7, have you ever seen a ghost? As far as actually seeing a ghost or seeing spirits or demons or other interdimensional beings, no, I can't really say that I've ever actually seen a ghost, but I will say that when I was young, really young, and before my surgery, up until I had my heart surgery, everyone in my household, including my landlord, uh, well, my parents' landlord, I should say, swore up and down that I was talking to people, but there was no one around, and that they could hear other voices. It was like I was talking to a ghost, and the ghost was answering, but yet I never saw anyone. But I don't see how that's possible because I mean, before my surgery, I would black out a lot, and um, I had a lot of health issues. But they swore up and down it was like I could talk to the dead. And I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical of that, but there were times where I always suspected that maybe there was something wrong with me, or maybe it was just lack of oxygen or whatever. But they swore up and down that they were hearing voices, and that I was answering them and talking to them, like having a full on conversation. And I don't really remember that, but I do I do remember also that, like, I mean, as far as actually seeing a ghost, I don't know if I want to call it a ghost or a guardian angel, but there was this one incident where, and it's related because, like, when I was like 4 years old, the voices that I was hearing in the conversation, which I don't really remember a whole lot of it, and I don't want to sound crazy because people may or may not believe it, and I really don't care, either way, regardless, whether it happened or not, but I did see like this figure, and it was like dressed in gray, kind of like an old Civil War guy, and the only thing that I vaguely remember is hearing someone tell me their name was David. Now, I don't know any. I mean, I know a few Davids, but I was like 4 years old at the time, and I didn't know anyone named David then. So it was like, it was really confusing because when I told my parents, they asked me, well, who's David? You know, who's this person? They didn't quite understand until years later, and when I explained it to them, uh, they said that it was possible that I had seen a ghost. So I don't know. I mean, there's really a lot of controversy on that within just that subject, and I tend to say yes, but at the same time, I tend to say no. I don't think it's really a ghost at all. I think it's a possibility it was me going by another name in another dimension, and that dimension happened to be in the past. And somehow, I don't know, somehow I came across something and somehow communicated with myself in the future. In another dimension. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I don't really know. And it's strange because I always thought that, you know, something like that was considered paranormal, but most people can consider it more scientific, and some would say it's in the realm of magic, but that's, I don't know. I don't know. Most people don't believe in that, so I I mean, as far as seeing a ghost, I'm gonna have to say no. And I mean, I really hope that answers your question. I know I didn't go into real big detail, but it's kind of sketchy, and my memory isn't good on that, so I can't really use that as a reliable story. But that's my experience on the matter. So I hope that answers your question. Number 8. What do you think about trolls on the internet? Oh, God. Trolls. I've said this before. I don't really care what you have to say. Your face, your mom, I don't care. You know? I mean, if I really wanted to listen to what you have to say, I would ask you. But I'm not asking you, so I don't want to hear what you have to say. You want to know what I think about trolls on the internet? I think they're nothing but attention whores. I think that they need to just crawl back into the hole where they came from and not say anything. Or better yet, keep their mouths shut. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question about what I think about trolls. I mean, I honestly don't really think that they should be allowed on the internet. So, yeah, I really think that pretty much sums up this question. Question number 9. Do you believe that people have to die in order to end wars? Well, this is kind of a hard subject, but I believe that war is inevitable, and I believe that no matter how many wars you stop, there's always going to be a war somewhere starting. And I believe that no matter how many wars we start, there's always going to be a war stopping somewhere. So regardless, you're always going to have war. War is always going to be fluent in any form. But do I believe that people have to die in order to end wars? No. People do not have to die to end wars. Do they choose to die? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're not even given that choice. I mean, you look at history and you look at the events that have occurred where people have been killed when they could have been brought in alive. And you look at how the situation was handled, and you look at the inevitable where they were shot in the head. I really believe that people don't have to die to end wars, and I believe that just killing someone to end a war or claiming to have ended a war is an excuse to keep the war continuing. Especially when it's with another country that doesn't agree with our points of views and will always be at war with us because they believe they're right and we're wrong, or we believe we're right and they're wrong. You know, it's he's right, she's wrong, he's right. You know, it's pointing fingers. It's pointing fingers. That's all it is. And I don't believe people should have to die in order to end a war. I believe that, you know, they should come to a reasonable point of agreement and then segregate and simply just not do business with that other country. Cut off all ties. I mean, if that other country isn't going to agree with us to begin with, why even do business in any form with that country? Why even associate with that country? So, I mean, inevitably, all it does is start more wars and cause more death, and more people die. And what? To try to end a war? A war that's going to just start another war? It's inevitable. So no, I don't believe people have to die to end wars. So I hope that answers your question. Question number 10. Do you dislike or hate the world and the people in it? I'm going to have to say that I do dislike and hate the people in this world, because the fact is well, there's so many opinions out there, there's so many ideas, so many thoughts, so many suggestions, so many influences, so many powers, so much corruption, so much evil, so much good, you know, so much this, so much that, so much all. I mean, it's just, to answer your question, I do not like people. I hate people. And I don't think that it's right for people to sit there and try to control and manipulate me when they know I do not like them and that I hate them. So I really hope that answers your question, and I appreciate, you know, the questions. I'll probably get more questions in the future, and I might answer them, but I might not do it in this format. So, I mean, if you feel the need to, you know, leave questions, you can leave them below in this video, and feel free to subscribe, like, and share these videos with your friends, family. You know, if you have a video response, feel free to leave a video response. And also, trolls, if you're going to leave comments trolling, I'm not even going to bother answering you, because guess what? Guess what? It's pointless. I don't care. I don't like you, so why would I answer you? So, just be aware of that ahead of time, you know? I mean, it's ridiculous. I do not like you trolls. I do not. And, thank you again, everyone. And I mean everyone, for watching my videos. So, thank you.